Hi, I'm Philip Smith, financial planner with Tidepool Wealth Strategies, helping self-employed professionals and solopreneurs just like you cultivate resilience in your plans to retire well. This is the Financial Planning Podcast about money management, best practices for long-term growth, wealth building truths and fallacies, successful retirement strategies, and more, where I'll be sharing concise, actionable retirement planning guidance. Welcome to the Financial Flow. Thank you for joining me for the inaugural and likely the least educational podcast episode of Financial Flow. I take that back. You'll become educated on what this podcast is all about, so there is that. But as far as specific financial planning education goes, well, that begins in episode 2. The goal or intent, I guess you could say the whole drive behind why I felt compelled to launch this, is to provide small business owners, primarily those who are self-employed, with actionable guidance you can put to use in your everyday life. I'm focused on putting helpful guidance out there to serve those who would call themselves self-employed or solopreneur, independent contractor, any term you prefer that brands you as an entrepreneurial army of one. And you may wonder, why this focus on the self-employed? I've searched the podcast world and really couldn't find someone out there creating content that focused on financial and retirement planning advice targeted specifically at the self-employed. Sure, there are one-off episodes here and there and tons of podcasts on how to be a successful business owner, but as far as I can tell, nobody focusing their effort on this singular vast category of business owners and what we should be doing to prepare for life after our career. I may be emphasizing a focus on helping the self-employed, but the information shared here is really intended for anyone who wants to become better informed, more educated, and hopefully more confident about how to retire well. I'll be sharing education and experience for better or worse. We'll talk growth and succession, retirement plans and retiring, saving and investing, tax strategy, insurance, pain points, resources, work-life balance, and so much more. I look forward to sharing practical solutions that you haven't discovered or just didn't quite know how to apply in your own life yet. I know that your financial landscape is constantly changing. Like the tides, there is an ebb and flow. That's why my own approach to financial planning with clients is flexible, dynamic, adaptive. I hope that what I share here somehow in some small way enables you to be prepared for what life brings. So I hear the common question, what's the deal with the tide pool symbolism? Well, a tide pool is a dynamic and interconnected ecosystem. So are your finances. There's an ebb and flow to each. Think of a tide pool like your personal financial ecosystem. The tide pool is filled by the ocean when the tide comes in, and your finances are replenished by cash that flows in from the larger economy. Life in a tide pool has evolved in a way that it can sustain low tide, and you want your finances to be in a place where you too can sustain the financial low tides of life. And being self-employed comes with unique opportunities and financial challenges. Unlike traditional employees, you don't always have the luxury of employer-sponsored retirement plans or even know what your options are. As I know you're intimately aware, income can be unpredictable. Goodness, especially if you work for a commission. As a result, taxes can be a little unpredictable too. When you're the boss and the sales team and the service personnel, risk is, or at least it should be, constantly top of mind. This means you need to be more proactive and strategic about your financial planning and about knowing your options. Now, as someone living and working in the same spirit of ownership, I get it. The drive to build something from the ground up, the passion for pursuing a vision, the dedication it takes to make your business thrive. And I'm also familiar with the head trash that reminds us how we might fail. As a business owner, you're living out a cornerstone of the American dream, but with this independence comes responsibility, managing every aspect of your financial life from budgeting and cash flow management to risk mitigation and retirement planning. One of the things you'll probably hear me emphasize and reiterate is the importance of having a trusted team around you. Attorneys, tax professionals, insurance advisors, a financial advisor. At Tidepool Wealth Strategies, we believe that with the right guidance and resources, we may be able to help you turn your financial tide pool into a thriving ecosystem. We're here to share positive money management habits, help with goal setting strategies, and share some education on everything from basic financial education to complex planning concepts and maybe just interesting stuff that hopefully resonates with you. And I'm going to try to accomplish this in informative 6 to 8, maybe 10-minute clips that will conclude with specific actionable items that you can put to work in your own life. Like you, I have a full-time job, a family, and a goal to retire on my own terms. When there's momentum, I'm motivated to keep it going. So, grab your shades and some sunblock. Now, if you're in Oregon like me, you might not need as much sunblock. The clouds do a lot of the work most of the year. But let's get out there in the tide pool of life and grow together. Let's explore the depths of financial wisdom and flow together. Thanks for tuning in to Financial Flow, brought to you by Tidepool Wealth Strategies. Until next time, stay resilient and plan to retire well. It's disclosure time. This podcast is intended for educational purposes only, should not be used for any other purpose. The views depicted in this material should not be considered specific advice or recommendations for any individual, are not intended to be financial, tax, or legal advice, and do not represent Tidepool Wealth Strategies or Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC. For a comprehensive review of your personal situation, always consult with a financial, tax, or legal advisor. Neither Cetera nor any of its representatives may give legal or tax advice. Our office address is 450 Country Club Road, Suite 350, Eugene, Oregon, 97401. Securities and advisory services are offered through Cetera Advisor Networks, LLC, a broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, and member of FINRA and SIPC. Cetera is under separate ownership for any other named entity. Whew.